So here's a bonus one for you. This is my mate's car. So he bought this as a non-runner, so it's the Antara 2.0 diesel. So I'll take you to the scan tool. So this is a scan of the engine management ECU, and you can see that the first codes that came up are the relay, the heater relay 1 and 2, then we've got glow plugs 1, 2 and 4, then the next 4 codes are to do with the particulate filter, that's the DPF, and the last one is to do with the rail pressure sensor voltage high. Now what I would say is take a note of these, but you do not know who has been at the car, so the best thing to then do is clear them and try cranking the car and see what comes back. So there was only 2 that came back when I cranked the car at 1620. You can see they're both relating to the particulate filter, the DPF, which is in the exhaust on a diesel car. Quick look at these fault codes. We then went to the data PIDs. Now this is one thing I like about this Verus. The little Autel cannot do this. This can capture loads of data in the one go, especially when the car is CAN bus like this one is. So I think we'll have, the first capture we'll have over 12, is it? Yeah, well there's a rake of PIDs there anyway. So let's go through them. So here we go, battery voltage. So I think I'm right in saying the minimum battery voltage you really should have is about 10.5 volts. So you can see that we're down to 10.5 volts here, so that looks quite good. Even 10 volts. But I'm actually jump starting this off my own car to keep the voltage up because the battery was very weak. So we've got good cranking voltage, I think you would agree there. Then the next PID is a fuel pump relay, so that shows that the fuel pump is activating to come on, and you could actually hear it. You could hear it priming in the tank. So with a diesel engine, especially common rail, the higher the RPM the better, because the higher RPM generates more heat within the cylinder. So I'm sure the figure is right in saying it's anything above 200 RPM cranking is good. So you can see there we're actually well up here. Sometimes we get 500, but I think that the kind of mean or the average was 250, 300. So good cranking here. Camshaft speed, well that should be roughly, the camshaft speed is half of what the crankshaft speed is. So we see we'll have a reading anyway, and that comes off the camshaft sensor. Now here's a big one. Common rail pressure desired. This is good. See when it gives you this, it gives you something to point at. So it's looking for 4351 psi. Now that equates to, I think, roughly 300 bar, because there's 14.1 psi to 1 bar. That's right. So that would be roughly 300 bar. So what we get when we crank it, we're getting 349 bar, yet we require 4351 bar. We are well short. So this car is not creating enough pressure to get going. So let's go to the next one. This is a rail pressure sensor. You've seen that in my last video. So it's reading half a volt. That's most of them all do that. And when we're cranking over, we're only getting up to 0.55. So well short. We're well down the pressure. Next one, the fuel rail pressure solenoid. So that's the DRV valve. So this shows you in a percentage. So when we're actually cranking it over, it's giving it 35 to 25%, 25 to 35%. So the way this works, when it pulses it, it's sending it in, thus generating higher pressure because it's solenoid in to shut the rail. So that's a good value, I would say, for this car. So the valve, well, the computer's telling the valve to work. And then here's the amps. So these, I've seen them ranging up to 3 amps, 2 to 3 amps. This one's drawing 0.88 amps, so it's drawing some amperage. So the things can be deduced from that it's actually moving. No, we can just deduce that the solenoid is drawing current. So maybe somebody else can illuminate me on that. Then the next one, the fuel metering solenoid. Now this is the inlet metering valve on the pump. Now when you're going along the road, they roughly go between 30 to 40%. So cranking, you can see it's roughly the same. When you're cranking the engine, you're getting 30 up to 40%. So that's allowing the fuel into the pump. Now this one works opposite from the DRV. When you send current to that, it closes it. So you can actually get away with disconnecting that, and it allows maximum fuel volume to get into the pump. Now the next one was exactly the same. This is the
the amperage of that solenoid. So at peak times it's pulling 1.9 amps. That's normal. Now here's another big one. Differential pressure diesel particulate filter. Now this is the DPF. This is the pressure sensor in the exhaust. And you can see when we're cranking it, wow, we're getting up to 16.2 psi. Now the standard for this, you should have no more than 1 psi when cranking. So clearly we can see that we have got a block DPF. So that's two things we've recognised. The fuel pressure is low and the DPF is blocked. It shows you the voltage of the DPF, so we're shooting right up to just nearly, there we go, 4.5 volts. So that's at its max. So it's choked to bits. So it's showing diesel particulate filter saturation 8%. Don't know what that means. And there we go. This was interesting. Distance since last DP regeneration, it said 9 miles. So well, it must have done a fuel regeneration if it said it done it 9 miles ago. Because it usually would come up fail, I think. But anyway, that was just a quick look at the PIDs. So what I then decided to do was reduce my PIDs to speed them up. So I went from all these PIDs I had over 16 down to the major 3. So you see I've got engine RPM, common rail pressure, and common rail pressure and voltage. So you can see there, at one point I'm cranking, it actually shoots up to 928. And see at that point, it was like the car was just almost ready to start. But I'm not sure if somebody had tried starting fluid, like easy starting it, to get this thing to go. So maybe that was hanging about, or could it be that maybe a leaky injector going into the cylinder? I'm not really sure yet. But you can see that we were still well down in the pressure. We're still only at 253 psi where we require over 4,000. And then the next one was there, just the fuel rail pressure sensor again, just over half a volt. So if you want faster data, limit your number of PIDs on your scan tool. So I then decided to do a diesel sample, and boy, you can see the difference. The one on the left is good new diesel, clean diesel, when the one on the right is out of the car. So what I would say, the one on the right came out of the car, what a terrible smell of it. So I'm not sure if it had solvents in it or something like that, but oh boy, the smell was terrible. So I think clean diesel into the pump is the first call here, and a change of filter. So the magic video, we're now back. So my idea for the blocked exhaust is, see this down here, this is the pressure sensor for in the exhaust. So I'm going to disconnect that if it allows the exhaust to breathe. So that's the one thing we're going to do. And the other thing is, you'll see down there, there's the fuel pump. Oh, look at the wrong thing here. There's the fuel pump right there. So I'm going to run diesel right into that, because you've seen that sample look real bad. So I think if we get rid of that, run it right in there and just open up that valve, the sensor, see if it allows the exhaust to breathe. If it doesn't breathe right, we'll crack the exhaust to see if we can get this thing going. But I'm a bit worried about this one, because whatever they've used, it must have obviously blocked the DPF or melted the DPF. I don't know how they work, but as you can see, there's the pressure sensor there. Now, this is at the end of the rail. This controls pressure within the rail as well, but it allows it to escape. So I'm sure if you disconnect the electrical connection, this shuts. So that you can actually do a test. Frank Massey shows you a test on this system. And then you also have, is it the DRV valve just in there, that allows fuel into the pump. Now this one has a pump in the tank, and I'm sure it runs about 3.5 bar. So as I say, probably change the filters first and see if we can get this thing going. See if there's anything else. There's the computer there. Obviously someone's had a wee go at this already. The cover's off the computer. Anything else to see? That's the pipes that lead into the pump. So I'll just take a connection from there, and oh, there's the fuse box up there. So anyway, cheers, I'll get back to you as soon as I figure it out. So the Verus, because mine is out of date, didn't actually have any information on the Antara, but I just went into the Insignia, which is a similar system. So you can see there's lots of things when we go into the guided component test that we can look at. I thought the first thing we can just have a wee look at is the exhaust pressure sensor. I'll give you some info on that. So here is some information that you can read through at your own leisure if you pause the video. What I would say, the Verus is quite good. Actually, when it does this, it's very good. Giving you these bits of snippet of information that can really speed up your diagnosis.
Now, on the Antara here is the fuel pump relay, and that's the fuse 17 as its associated fuse there.
So what I thought we'd do in this video would be interactive. You can chime in what should be my next move. I just had a quick 5 minutes look at this car and took the fuel sample and just came home. So I've never had time to go back, but I thought it'd be quite an interesting learning exercise for everyone. And just chime in the chat and we can see where it takes us. Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers.